If you're between the ages of 25 and 34 and you don't know how to create content, then listen up.
Money coming in like Tony. Money coming in like Tony. Tony. Money coming in like Tony. I need money coming in like Tony. Tony.
You're either seeing so much lifestyle vlog content and it's paralyzing you creatively because you aren't living that life, or you're too shy to show your own life in case it comes across as too boring. Either way, you're missing out on what the internet has for you because you aren't creating anything or little to nothing. When you realize nobody cares, you will be free. Now, there are new formats of video growing on YouTube every day, and when you understand the trends and patterns, it's easy to make sense of it and then create the content that makes sense for you and your desired audience. Now, you might see the make money online niche guys with the Porsches and the Lambos and think, damn, I can't do that type of content because I don't have what they have. It really comes down to who are you trying to attract the most. Most males between the ages of 13 and 25 are going to be attracted by the material items, like the cars, the watches, the trips, etc. That's just how people are wired today based on social media. So if your desired audience for whatever it is that you want to do is that, then by all means go for it. However, it's unlikely you'll be able to do that if you aren't at that level. Now, you got to start thinking with a longer time horizon in mind, meaning think, where do I want to be in 10 years as opposed to next year, right? You must realize that that type of lifestyle marketing, it's designed to attract a certain demographic of people, and it's usually the ages I mentioned before. So if you're in the 25 to 34 bracket, the chances are you still haven't quote unquote made it, whatever that means. And you still might be figuring things out, and you might have tried some ventures that worked, some that didn't work, and you might be working in a job that you're not a fan of, whatever, right? So it doesn't really matter the situation. Just know that nobody in essence really cares until they actually care. So creating content should just be your go-to regardless, right? You have to do the reps. There's no way around that. And it will feel bad, might look bad. The more you do, the better you get. And listening to 25 different people on YouTube might not be helpful because you're going to get conflicting messages as they all have different backgrounds, experiences, agendas, knowledge, and wants and needs, right? Everybody's got their own goal. Even me in this video, if what I've said so far is conflicting, then you 1000% should just click off and go somewhere else on YouTube. Respectfully. If it sounds more like your speed, then stick around because you won't hear many YouTube educators say that, but that's the harsh truth. And I want people watching my videos to watch till the end of the video. And if I only wanted them to watch 1 minute 39, for example, then I would have made the video that length of time, right? So your goal of continuously making content is to pretty much just get better so people then stick around. And in essence, remember this, people are watching videos to fulfill their own wants, desires, and needs. It's not to satisfy yours. So you've got to make the video about them. That's it. If, for example, you like that flashy, lifestyle content, then you've pretty much got to get yourself into a successful position where you can afford that lifestyle without it breaking your back or your bank account. Then by all means, go for it. But just know people who you are seeing that have that vlog content, they also actually do webinars and educational content like this, right? Talking head videos on a separate channel that actually provides the educational value. Now, they pretty much just leverage the flashy vlog content to pull in a large audience, increase their personal brand and traffic to their business overall, which is actually really smart when you think about it, because the traditional knowledge of niche down, it doesn't apply in this strategy because you're essentially going broad and niche at the same time, which is genius, in my opinion. Now, bringing it back to you, you might have a special set of skills or experience that you could lean on to attract a broad audience, something, that people really want to see. You have to become a human psychologist today as a YouTuber and entrepreneur, because you're attracting people based on human emotion. So if you just keep that in mind at all times when you're making and creating videos or writing scripts, then you'll realize what really moves the needle, when it comes to what people want to see. Now, if you have made it this far, right, and you're still wanting to learn more, which is great, I'll tell you this from studying hundreds of channels in depth across different sectors, different niches, is that everything has the potential to work. Most of the time, people just don't try, so they don't actually know if their content will work because they don't even attempt, which is crazy when you really think about it. And remember this, people are watching because you have something or know something that they want or don't have. So give them that and give it in abundance. For example, I drive a Mercedes SLK convertible. It's a sports car, roadster, real nice, okay? But I don't show it on this channel because it just wouldn't make sense. I'm in my office, in front of my computer, got some art on the wall, books, whatever, and I'm giving educational content. So if I do the same videos with my car and the top down, then I'm going to attract a whole different audience. And those people might not necessarily want the things that I have to offer. So you have to create content that is based on what and who you are delivering it to. My aim, for example, is to attract people who can pretty much benefit from software that improves revenue, makes their creative process easier and more fun, and increases their productivity overall. That's who this content is for. It isn't for people who want to see flash cars and Miami lifestyle. It's for a more calmer, minded person, someone who doesn't need all of that flash and pizzazz to make a decision. It's someone who just wants to get to the point and solve their problems. More than likely is for people who are just sick and tired of paying for software that doesn't actually solve their problems, and someone who's definitely an Apple product consumer, as that's the platform that my software is on. So you see what I did there? I literally just spelled out who this content is for in extreme detail. I did that because I want to attract those people, and anyone else who falls outside of that criteria, probably this content just isn't for. There are so many people on this planet, and I think social media sometimes can pretty much make you feel the opposite, ironically. We hear millions and billions, but we don't actually really know what that looks like. We are more used to seeing the numbers rather than what those numbers represent in human form. You always see metrics on your dashboards and things like that, but not the amount of humans it's reaching. So when that's multiplied, you get a state of confusion and I don't know what the content I should make, etc. And it's all because you're seeing things that conflict with our ambitions. When that is multiplied, you get this state of confusion of, I don't know what content I should make, etc. And it's all because you are seeing things that conflict with your ambitions. So if you just think that you only need 1,000, 500, 250, 100 customers, clients, viewers, buyers, whatever, then you will be fine. Now, if you're constantly in a state of mind where you think you need millions and hundreds of millions to get somewhere, then you're not really dialed into how the internet is moving today. And how you should create content is based on where you're at, what you can do, and how you can serve the viewer of the content. Yes, you must have something to offer in general, for sure. I totally get that. But the content is all about service and serving others. In this video, my goal was to give you a different perspective on how to create content, what strategies are happening right now based on market research and analysis. And that's what I do as a profession, right? And pretty much open your eyes in a totally different way to creating content on the internet and specifically YouTube. And I know certain videos I've seen over the years that might have triggered specific thoughts, really. It set me off on a different trajectory or got me thinking in a different way entirely. So make the content anyway, is what I say. Don't sit on it. Don't say, I don't know if people will like it. None of that. Just get it out and get to uploading. You won't know unless you try things. And trying things is how you learn. Not doing things is how you fade into the background like a piece of dust in the open air. And you definitely don't want that. So stop watching what others are doing. Pick up a few philosophies to listen to. And the rest is bonus content to study. And if you're struggling with perfectionism, then before you begin that quest, then watch this video because I actually break down how you can overcome that.